Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a piece of spiritual advice that, on the surface, sounds incredibly freeing. But what if it's actually holding people back? We're talking about a huge debate. Are the tools that get you to enlightenment a ladder you're supposed to kick away, or are they a lifeline you should be throwing back to others? I'm sure you've heard this phrase, or something like it, let go of all methods. It sounds so liberating, right? The idea that you can just drop all the effort, stop all the frantic seeking, and just rest in your natural state. It has this powerful, almost prophetic appeal. Who wouldn't want that? But what if this advice, as amazing as it sounds, is actually a harmful oversimplification? Today, we're exploring the argument that telling someone to just let go might be forgetting a really, really crucial part of the journey. So let's start with why this no-method view is so dang popular. The central idea is pretty simple. Awakening is already our natural state. So, from this perspective, any technique, any practice, well, it just reinforces the illusion that we're separate from it, that we have to do something to get to a place we already are. And here's a really powerful way to think about why that advice can just fall flat. Telling an untrained mind to just be is kind of like telling a hurricane to calm down because, hey, the sky high above it is blue. I mean, sure, the clear sky is always there in theory, but we're living down here, in the middle of the storm. The advice just doesn't connect with our actual experience. And this whole debate is not new at all. It actually echoes a centuries-old Buddhist concept called Hangaku, or original enlightenment. It's this beautiful idea that at our core, we are all already enlightened. But you can probably see the potential pitfall here. If we're already perfect, why bother practicing at all? And for some people, that's exactly where the idea led. Okay, so what's the real problem with the no-method approach? Well, it's not just that it might be impractical, it's that it can become a kind of spiritual elitism. It's like someone who just finished a marathon telling everyone at the starting line, oh, just run. You don't need a map or water or anything. They're completely forgetting what the journey actually takes for most people. And this brings us to a really powerful parable. Imagine you use a raft to cross a massive, raging river. Once you're safe and sound on the other side, do you burn it? Or do you look back and realize that countless others are still stranded on the bank you just left, needing that exact same raft to get across? The no-method philosophy can be a lot like burning that raft. So here's the crucial point. The methods, the practices, the raft, they aren't the problem. They aren't a cage holding you back. According to this view, they are compassion made visible. They are the very tools we use to help ourselves and to help others cross that river. This leads us to a central concept that completely reframes this entire debate. It's called upāya. It's a Sanskrit word that roughly translates to skillful means. And honestly, it's the key to understanding why that raft is so incredibly important. Upāya is this incredible idea that truth isn't one size fits all. A great teacher doesn't just shout the final answer from a mountaintop. No, they meet the student exactly where they are. It's like explaining physics. You wouldn't use the same language for a 5-year-old that you would for a university professor, right? It's not about changing the truth. It's about compassionately shaping it so it can actually land and be understood. There's a classic story from the Lotus Sutra that makes this crystal clear. Imagine a bunch of kids playing inside a house that's on fire. They have no idea they're in danger. Their father can't convince them by explaining fire and smoke inhalation. So he promises them amazing toy carts waiting outside. They rush out for the toys and boom, they're saved. Those toys were the skillful means. They were the compassionate tool he used to bring them to safety. Okay, so if different teachings are just skillful tools meant for different people, what does that say about all the different spiritual paths and practices we see in the world? Well, this is where we run into the mind-blowing idea of Ekayāna, or the one vehicle. It's a profound revelation. All those paths that seem so different, the quiet path of a meditator, the very active path of a social volunteer, they aren't actually leading to different places. They're all just different roads, different skillful routes, all converging on the exact same destination. So let's just put these two views right next to each other. The no-method view says, hey, awakening is natural and methods just get in the way. But the skillful means view says, hold on, methods are actually acts of compassion. They help us stabilize our insights. And maybe, just maybe, that structure, that form is what makes real freedom possible in the first place. So what does this mean for all these different practices? chanting, meditation, devotion, service, study. They're not in competition with each other. It's way better to think of them as different facets of a single brilliant jewel. Each facet is cut a little differently, sure, and each one catches the light in its own unique way, but they're all part of the same gem. They're all reflecting the same inner light. And look, this whole debate has very real, very human consequences. This isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's about how we handle the profound and sometimes really disruptive process of spiritual insight. This is such a critical point. Having a momentary glimpse of ultimate reality, that's one thing. But being able to inhabit that reality, to embody it day to day in a human body with its history, its traumas, its conditioning, well, that's a completely different ballgame. This distinction is actually a classic one in Buddhism. You've got sudden awakening, that lightning bolt of insight, but that's followed by gradual cultivation, the lifelong, patient work of embodying that insight in your actual life. And that second part, the gradual part, that's where methods become absolutely essential. They are the very tools we use to integrate that flash of lightning into the soil of our lives. So, as we start to bring this all together, we can see methods in a totally new light. They're not obstacles, they're not crutches to be thrown away. They are bridges built out of mercy. I just love this image. The goal isn't just to get to the other side and forget everyone else. A truly awakened heart doesn't burn the raft. It rows back across over and over again, singing directions to help others who are still lost in the current. Mastery isn't about abandonment, it's about service. And this leaves us with a final, really profound thought that kind of flips the whole debate on its head. What if the practice, the method, the doing, isn't something you do to get enlightened? What if the doing itself, when it's done with your whole heart, with faith, is already an expression of the very enlightenment you were looking for all along?